No sooner had the debate ended than up popped the social media tweet who won. At last glance, Nicola Sturgeon was leading with 58% of the vote. Of course I'm not taking it seriously because the numbers were so small, but nevertheless looking at it made me think about why that handful of people thought she had won. The answer didn't take much thinking about. Very simply, the interviewer asked who thinks they are going to be First Minister and she was the only one who put her hand up. Douglas Ross spluttered that he would love to be. Anas Sawar said he was just being honest, and the other two didn't even try to explain, but basically a bunch of leaders are taking their parties to the polls to lose. They are competing to be the opposition, the leader who gets to ask the most number of questions at First Minister's questions. The woman standing in the middle, who looks tired and battered, who is rumored to want to resign and get out of politics, is the only one with any belief or intention to win the election. What a sorry state the Scottish Parliament is in when a leaders' debate is so devoid of winners, where the only meaningful questions were, who is most sleazy? Isn't it true that all your manifestos are disconnected from fiscal reality? And isn't it true, Ms. Sturgeon, that you are not being candid about the impact of independence? Surely you are being dishonest? The word most frequently used to describe the last sitting of Parliament was toxic, and it was on display again last night. Anas Sawar has been desperately trying to model himself as the reasonable man, the new kid on the block who just wants love and harmony. It doesn't matter whether you are Leave or Remain, yes or no, he has your best interests at heart and will focus on recovery. I couldn't help thinking that we will need to be in rehab for a long time if his manifesto is anything to go by. For a man whose family wealth protects him from the poverty he speaks of so emotionally, he seems to have created a manifesto that will do nothing to stimulate a viable financial recovery. Nevertheless, he pushed Nicola Sturgeon on the levels of child poverty in her constituency. The figure he mentioned was 48%, and she bit back, arguing that the BBC had fact-checked that figure and found it wanting. Wrong, he said, and she swiftly moved on the debate, having not answered the question he had put. Willie Rennie and Douglas Ross also wanted to be laser focused on recovery. The knives were drawn as Nicola Sturgeon repeated accusations she was prioritising another independence referendum and taking her eye off the ball. But Nicola doesn't like to be questioned, and her irritation showed. The eyes rolled and the snappy impatience Nicola showed. "I won't take lessons from you," she told Douglas Ross. "No, she won't take lessons from anyone but the people of Scotland," she told us. "She submits herself to us every 5 years and we get to decide if she is right." The conviction was replayed again and again. "This is about democracy. It is not for me to choose, it is for the people, not for anyone else." Oh, how quickly she has forgotten the choices of the people. 2014 has been consigned to the past, a blip on the road to the ultimate dream. But there it is, the horrible reality. And no, I am not talking about Greens co-leader Patrick Harvie, who, comfortably positioned on the far left, saw no irony in the interviewer's suggestion that he was simply propping up the SNP government because he supported independence. No, he argued he hadn't sold out his green agenda. It is still alive and well after all. He achieved free bus passes for young people. However, without a hint of irony, he refused to rise to any suggestion of SNP sleaze and told us that this election is about Scotland rejoining the EU rather than being part of Boris' Brexit Britain, whilst in the next breath telling us Boris wouldn't be around forever, possibly not even the rest of the week. Yes, it seems education is wonderful and rejoining the EU is going to bring economic prosperity. I can't help wondering why Nicola and her EU-obsessed team didn't discover this prosperity when we were members, but as she brushed away that pesky border discussion as just not a problem and poor old lovely Emma was just misquoted, Nicola returned to her mantra of how hard she works and how seriously she takes everything, and all I could think was, I have heard all of this before. The men interrupt, swing their punches, she ducks, and then the bell goes. If it was a boxing match, the question would be how much were they paid to throw the championship. The winner can only be the one who intends to win, and if no one is seriously challenging, then it doesn't matter how incompetent, how misleading or disingenuous they are, they win by default. It's not the people of Scotland that are making the decision, it is the parties whose leaders have thrown in the towel before the first round was even called.